Good morning, students. We've got a fun little server challenge that we want to complete together today. So let me start by grabbing the URL to clone this repo. I'll come over, I'm going to clone this in my node server folder. So I'll type out git clone, my URL. I'll let that download. Then I will cd into my node debug challenge folder. I want to list what's there just to make sure I've got a package.json. I'll npm start that. Oh, that doesn't feel right. What's going on? Missing start script? Sure is. Okay, what's going on with the package.json? Oh, I typed npm start, didn't I? npm install is what I meant. Oops. Okay, let's get a start script. Hopefully you're doing okay with building out your server in the, for the Blue project. Please stay in touch with us. Keep us up to date. I have seen a few students just try to get off the communication radar, just stay out of touch with the instructors, and then their projects are a total mess. On the other hand, students who do keep us in the loop are talking to us daily, give us some sense of where they're at. We can give feedback on your progress. We can give feedback on your planning. It's fun for us. We like to see your projects grow and develop. So please don't feel embarrassed to reach out to instructors. I think a lot of you guys don't at this point, but yeah, just keep that communication open with us. We love your projects. We think they're great. We think they're cool. We want to see what they turn into, and we want them to be the best that they can be in this small 2-week window. So yeah, okay, all right. So there's our folder. We've npm installed. Let's do an npm start here. What am I? Did npm install break? Oh, I need nodemon. Duh. Duh, we got a dev dependency of nodemon. We don't have a start script in our package.json still. Whoops. Okay, with nodemon, we're starting to see the breaks that we want to see. So in my user controller, line 1, it's saying router is not defined. Okay, we can't just fire off a router function without express. We need express first. So let me go ahead and pull in express, var express equals require express. And then down below, we're going to take our express module that we've pulled in and fire, or function, not function, object, and fire off a method within it, the router method. Okay, so let's see what our, okay, so we've got a new error message. Now we're seeing cannot find module bcrypt. And I'm looking for, through each file, to see what's a file I recognize that I can actually control. Loader.js, nope, that's not me. Loader, nope. Loader, nope. Helpers, no, we don't have a helpers. For a lot of projects, I make a helpers file, but I don't have one here. User controller line 3. Great, that's something I can actually play with. So I see var bcrypt is requiring bcrypt. I know, just as an instructor, that sometimes we use bcrypt and sometimes we use bcrypt.js. They have really similar functionality. bcrypt.js tends to be a little bit less buggy. So I'm going to go to package.json and confirm that we're using bcrypt and not bcrypt.js. Oh, we're using bcrypt.js. Okay, so we've used the wrong import here. So we're going to update our name to bcrypt.js. And sweet, I'm on to a different error. Require.import is not a function, and it's saying user controller line 6. Okay, so we're requiring the database, our db.js file, that's our database credentials. Let's see how that's set up. Oh, so we're trying to, this looks wrong to me because we're trying to pull in our database file, but we don't have an export anywhere. We define all this great stuff, but we need to say, hey, let's ship off our Sequelize function that we have defined up above in line 3, and then we then used in line 8 to authenticate with the database. Okay? All right, do we have the same error? No. Now we're seeing unexpected token at new script, virtual machine, VM, loader, down to Sequelize.js, game controller line 2. Okay, so what's the, so we're now out of the user controller function, game controller line 2. Required, so the /db makes sense because we're navigating out of the controllers folder into the node debug challenge folder to get our database file. We're going through models to the game here, and okay, so we've got this anonymous function, but here again, we can we can export an anonymous function, but we don't do that anywhere. So even though it's complaining about this identifier expected, like normally you're going to say function blah, and then see it's cool with that. You can send an anonymous function through to export it, but again, we're not doing that. So we want a module.exports, ship this function off so it can be used in other files. Okay, great, new error message. Routers is not defined. That's our game controller. Wait a second, line 116? Okay. Oh, module.exports, so this is another export thing. Well, we use a router, we don't use a routers, so we're just going to make this singular. Validate session, line 2. Okay, what's going on here? Require import is not a function. So when you're pulling in a model, you're pulling that in having used your database credentials. You have to authenticate with the database, and then now that you're talking to the database, you can refer to your model. I know that's like a super non-technical answer. As you guys know, I don't play in the, what would this be here? I don't play in the Sequelize docs a whole lot. I tend to play with React a lot. However, I do know that in line 2, rather than requiring Sequelize, we want to require, which this is just a dependency, I believe we can find that. Yeah, rather than requiring a dependency here, we want to, oh, am I here? No, where was I supposed to be? Validate session. Rather than requiring this dependency, we should be requiring our database credentials. So I can do /db instead. And I'm getting completely different error. Sweet. We knew that there were 10 errors in all. So we're just knocking these guys out. Password authentication failed for user Postgres. That's in our db.js file. Well, my password is not gastboy. It is admin. And the server is running. That is good, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's error-free. So now at this point, I want to go to my user controller, and I want to sign up a new user. Now I'm going to look at the app.js, and I found this error earlier. I'll just anticipate this now. App.listen requires a port number, then a callback function. This is a callback function, great, but this server is not actually listening to any requests. So if we're listening on 4000, I'm going to declare that we're listening on 4000. We need to do that so the server can hear things happening through that port. Okay, so back to the original goal. I want to set up a user. So I'm going to sign someone up who's new. I want to look at this user.create object for the form of the request that I send in Postman. So I want first API/auth to get to the user controller, and then /signup. API/auth/signup. Okay. We have a user that we're creating first with full name, username, password, and email. Full name, just Tyler, that's it. That's my full name. Username, T Shelton 5000. Password, we'll keep it simple and use pass. Email, T Shelton, Shelton5000@gmail.com. Okay, and then I will try to post this. Server's running. Try to post this, and I get back nothing. Woo! That's sweet. Okay, I'm seeing body parser, express body parser. Okay, something's going on with body parser deprecated, undefined, extended. Something's going on with body parser. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this request. I know body parser has the job of taking the request coming through and turning that into a JavaScript object that can be read later in the server. We're referring to that in line 9. We correctly import body parser, but the function that we want to use is .json. That didn't get used anywhere. So let me go ahead and try this one more time. So we import body parser and then use the function we care to have. Okay, so let's send this through. Okay, cool, different error. User.password hash cannot be null. Well, where might I be playing with user.password hash? That could be in the user controller. I see password hash here is all lowercase, but if I refer to the user model, password hash is camel cased. So let's camel it up. Okay, let me send this through again. Hey, new user, sweet. I'm gonna grab the session token. I'm gonna copy that, come up to my headers, update my headers, like so. Okay, cool, cool. And then I'm gonna go to my game controller and I want to create a new game. I'm not gonna test every endpoint to know that the server's working, just for the sake of brevity here. So I'm gonna, I think it's API game/create. You can refer to your app.js file to clarify that. And in the body, I want not user details, I want game details. Title, studio, ESRB rating, user rating, have played. This guy should be coming from validate session, so I don't have to bother with that. So, title, what's a great game? Oh, what was that game that, I can't remember that. There was a game that's buried, literally, I think it was made for the original Nintendo, and I'm blanking on the name. That was so bad, it got such bad press, that the game developer actually bought all copies of the game off store shelves. Having made it and sent it to the store shelves, they bought it off the store shelves and then went to this landfill in Arizona and dumped and buried all these copies of the game, and they're just sitting there. There's some NES game buried in Arizona. I think I've got to reference that just for the sake of this video. NES buried game. Oh, was it Atari? Wait, so there were a few? Financial difficulty. Okay, well, that's not what I'm thinking of. There's one game specifically. Maybe a few Atari games as well. I don't know. Anyway, let's just make up a game then. I want to focus on the content here. This is going to be a Mega Man Mario mix. Mega Mario. Title with the studio being your boy. Let's go with an ESRB rating of definitely M, because it's Mega Man and Mario. They both start with M. User rating, on a scale of 1 to 5, let's give it a meh. No, 3. and have played false. Probably will never play Mega Mario. Okay. So can we ship this off? I think we can. We got a post request. We got headers. Oh, why did I? Oh, did I ever grab that? EY. Okay. I want to make sure I've got my session token. I don't remember updating this in the video. I guess I did. Okay. So I've got my game set up here. Sweet. Why am I setting up a session token? Well, once we get past the user controller, to get to the game controller, we've got this validate session. So I'm going to post this, and we see error cannot read property ID of undefined. And that's in game controller line 42. All right, so what's going on in game controller line 42? Well, this is a problem. Our request body does not send through a user ID. If we look at validate session, if we have an options request, we pretty much ignore the content of this file. If we don't have an options request, the king is coming through. We're making an official request. We're doing things in this land. That analogy is a little odd, but hey, let's roll with it. We grab a session token from the headers, right? Use that session token to try to, oh, okay, down here. Don't worry about this line. With that session token, we try to make sure that can be decoded. If it's decoded, okay. Find the user from that decoded ID, and that user data gets appended to the request body. So anytime you pass through validate session successfully, you have a new user key on your request object with your user details. Okay, so coming back to the game controller, body has nothing to do with this. We saw in validate session that got appended as rec.user. User details are in a user object. So inside the user object is an ID. Okay, let's try this again. Send, bam, Mega Mario, Studio Ya Boy, user rating 3. And why is the ESRB? I must have tabbed. No, I didn't. ESRB rating has a lot of characters. That's interesting. I gotta investigate this real quick. Game. Oh, ESRB rating type. We're putting a 5-character requirement on storing this, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so there you go. I think we've shown that we've fixed a lot of the server. Kind of a fun little challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Proud of the work you guys are doing. I totally appreciate and am loving how adaptable you guys have been throughout Blue Badge. I know this is not ideal, but you guys are doing a great job. And again, just keep up the communication. We love working with you guys. I will see you in class.